Welcome to Brûlée Media, where we explore the business strategies behind the brands and places that shape culture. Today, we're launching our Back in Bloom series, where we look at iconic brands that lost their way and found it back. And I wanted to start with a brand I know in a very real way. I bought my first Coach bag a few years ago, but long before I was a customer, I was behind the counter working at the Coach store on Michigan Avenue in Chicago right out of college. And now, years later, as a brand strategist, watching what Coach did to turn things around, it all makes sense in a way it didn't back then. Because here's the thing, Coach was once one of the most coveted brands in America, and then almost overnight, it wasn't. So, what happened? And how did they come back? So, grab your beverage, get comfortable, and let's talk about what happened to Coach and what we can learn from it. Coach started in 1941 in a Manhattan loft, not a design studio, not a fashion house, a workshop. Miles and Lillian Kahn were leather workers. They made wallets and billfold cases by hand. And what they built was simple, exceptional quality for a fair price. The story goes that Miles Kahn was holding a baseball glove one day and noticed something. The leather was soft, broken in, durable in a way most leather goods weren't. He thought, what if a handbag felt like that? That one question changed everything. Coach became the first luxury brand to use that kind of glove tan leather, and women noticed. By the late 1970s, glove tan leather made up a significant share of Coach's sales. According to early executive interviews, and by the mid 80s, analysts estimated Coach had grown into roughly a $20 million business, almost entirely through word of mouth. Wow. As demand grew, so did the brand. Through the 70s and 80s, Coach expanded into department stores and opened their own retail locations. And in 1985, Sara Lee Corporation acquired Coach, seeing a profitable, underscaled brand with serious upside. What happened next was remarkable. Under CEO Lou Frankfurt and creative director Reed Krakoff, Coach went public in 2000 and reinvented itself, not as a classic American leather goods company, but as an accessible luxury brand. Between 2000 and 2010, Coach grew from around $500 million in revenue to over $4 billion. The stock rose more than 1,000%. By the mid 2000s, they operated more than 300 stores, and the signature C print became one of the brand's most important revenue drivers. Here's what was happening when I was working on that floor in 2009. Coach was everywhere, and in luxury, everywhere is a problem. By the early 2010s, Coach operated hundreds of outlet stores globally, far more than their full price locations. A majority of their inventory was flowing through discount channels, and customers were paying deeply discounted prices, often far below full price. Department stores were flooded with product, and stores were discounting heavily during the holidays. Customers started waiting for the sale, and once that happens, you train your customer never to pay full price. But momentum doesn't last forever. By 2009, only about 30% of customers had a positive feeling about Coach. According to brand perception studies, a sharp drop from the brand's early 2000s peak. And as Coach's perception slipped, competitors like Michael Kors and Kate Spade surged into the space Coach once owned. They became the new symbols of accessible luxury, capturing the customers Coach was losing. Coach wasn't just losing sales, they were losing meaning. In 2013, Coach made a decision most brands are too scared to make. They brought in creative director Stuart Vevers and started shrinking. They knew it would hurt in the short term, investors weren't thrilled, but Coach understood something fundamental. Scarcity creates desire. Coach reduced department store distribution by roughly 40% according to earnings reports. They cleared a significant amount of excess inventory. Full price sell through improved significantly within the first 18 months. E commerce grew at a double digit pace, and the Tabby line delivered strong double digit growth, becoming a breakout hit. And the results were immediate. After Coach appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race, foot traffic to their full price stores rose about 20%, their outlet stores up more than 30%. The strategy was working. And once the momentum started, Coach did something even smarter. They doubled down on who they wanted to become. Coach didn't just rebuild its product line, they rebuilt their cultural relevance, and the brands they chose were not just famous, they were intentional. After the decline, the rebuild required something different. Coach began choosing ambassadors who reflected the emotional, youthful, cinematic world the brand was trying to create. In 2016, Chloe Grace Moretz brought Downtown Edge. In 2017, Selena Gomez brought something Coach hadn't had in years: heat. Her first campaign sparked more than 50 million social media impressions and reintroduced the brand to an entire generation. In 2018, Elle Fanning added that dreamy Americana glow, but Coach didn't stop at women's wear. In 2019, Michael B. Jordan became the brand's first global face for menswear. And in 2020, Coach added Jennifer Lopez. Her appointment as global ambassador wasn't just a celebrity signing, it was a full circle moment. Lo had long embodied the glossy, confident energy of early 2000s accessible luxury, and bringing her into the modern Coach universe connected the brand's heritage with its new direction. By 2021, Storm Reed represented the next generation, and Megan Thee Stallion delivered one of Coach's highest engagement rates of the decade. In 2023, Lola Tung's campaign sparked a significant spike in Gen Z search interest, according to Google Trends. And that same year, Kate Moss, the supermodel, bridged heritage luxury with contemporary relevance. And Pillow Tabby going viral on TikTok with over 100 million views under hashtag Coach Tabby prove Coach wasn't just back, they were shaping the moment. So, what can we learn from Coach? Three things. Lesson one: ubiquity is the enemy of desire. Coach made a painful but necessary decision. They reduced distribution because when your product is everywhere, it stops feeling special. Retail analysts note that when brands reduce discounting by even 20 to 30% margins, often improve significantly within a year. Lesson 2: know who you are building for. Coach got very specific. They didn't want to be the 10th bag in a wealthy woman's closet. They wanted to be the first luxury bag a 20-year-old saves up for. Gen Z has become one of the fastest growing customer segments for accessible luxury brands, including Coach. Lesson 3: your heritage is an asset, use it. Coach didn't run from their history, they ran toward it. Brand strategy research shows that heritage driven relaunches often outperform full rebrands in long term brand equity. Coach didn't just rebuild the brand, they rebuilt the world around it. In 2023, they opened the first Coach Café in New York City, a physical space designed to feel like stepping inside the brand's new universe. Not a store, not a pop up, a lifestyle moment. It wasn't about selling more bags, it was about giving people a space to feel the brand, the warmth, the nostalgia, the softness, the cinematic world Stuart Vevers had been building for a decade. And it worked. The cafe became a magnet for Gen Z, TikTok creators, and tourists who wanted the Coach experience, even if they weren't buying a bag that day. It proved something important. Coach wasn't just back in fashion, they were back in culture. Coach didn't save themselves by chasing trends. They saved themselves by getting honest about what they had lost and disciplined enough to get it back. And here's what makes that especially interesting. Coach is now a roughly $6 billion brand again. They didn't abandon the outlet, they transformed it. That's not a trend follow, that's a brand that finally knows exactly who it is. I bought my first Coach bag a few years ago, and every time I carry it, I think about that store on Michigan Avenue and how far this brand has come. Sometimes the best comeback story is the one hiding in plain sight. What's your favorite Coach moment? Or do you have a bag you've had for years? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, subscribe to Brûlée Media. There are so many more stories waiting for us. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.